All right, hey, we live again. I think we are up and at it and going. So let's do it. I think you already. All right, you already retweeted it and such.
Oh
So
yeah.
what's up, everybody? Welcome to a podcast divided. We are here. We gonna talk. We both got wins this weekend. Of course, we've been debating the last days about what constitutes a maze out. And, who I got absolutely annihilated this week on Twitter because someone found a tweet of me responding and saying I didn't like the pom poms, and I was treated like I was a communist or something like that. you know, or
Twitter wars are the worst.
oh man, Twitter wars are whack, man. But and now in the current battle waging right now is Michigan fans and Miami fans. I mean, Michigan State fans and Miami fans is the current war that's waging now. So
Is
that's that looks fun.
a fake war.
I think y'all win the war because obviously, you guys have had, even though their run from like the early '80s to 2001, 2002 was pretty epic. Outside of that, they've been
They're Michigan with Flash.
Oh, shush. Well, we had multiple good eras. All right, we had multiple good eras, and even though we haven't been dominant since the 1940s, constantly like national championship dominant consistently since the 40s. We had one in '97. We've been top 10, top 15 caliber for most of our existence, but yeah, Miami outside of them 20 years. Mm-mm. Mm-mm.
They're one of the only power conference teams that considers themselves an elite program that has a conference championship older than Michigan's.
Oh yeah, I know, man. It's just, yeah. I mean,
they don't have an ACC championship.
I know. The thing about it is with Michigan and Michigan State, with the way the population has shifted to the south, where everyone's moving to Florida, Georgia, Texas, Arizona, and California. We don't have the population we had 20, 30 years ago. Miami, you are in Miami, where the best players, the very, very best players in the country, like you can name off God knows how many, Miami natives that were stars, and then went on to the NFL. I think Plaxico's from Miami, right?
I think so.
Yeah, Plaxico Burrs, yeah. So yeah, Plaxico's from Miami. Then you've got, Ed Reed, Edgerrin James, Michael Irvin. The list goes it's ridiculous.
And yet they still somehow fail to win big games for the past 20 years. They haven't done anything.
Yeah, it's like
18 years.
It's like I don't get it, man. I just don't understand how you're not able to do like they did back in the back in the early '80s, where they walled off that area south of I-4, south of I-4 in the I-95 corridor. It's like they called it the state of Miami. So they just walled that off, and anybody that comes near, this is our territory. You can be a knoll or whatever. But there's so much football down there. You got enough for everybody, pretty much.
It can't be that hard to sell Miami to recruits.
But there's so much football down there. Yeah, you got enough for everybody, pretty much.
It can't be that hard.
I'm sorry, y'all.
Miami.
We're having technical difficulties. I'm just trying to get everybody up and going. But here we go. Some Monroe Cameron first comment. Another Michigan.
Is that wrong?
Michigan, if we hadn't had more success than we've had, like more over a longer period of time. Okay,
I'm gonna do. Hold on, you go and talk. I'm gonna do a little research here first.
Okay, go ahead, go for it. Do a little research.
Yep.
But yeah, I think saying Michigan. Well, because we haven't won a conference title since I was in high school, and now I'm an old man. We haven't won a national title since I was in fourth grade. Which I mean, of course, Michigan. A lot of y'all's parents weren't born since Michigan State last won a national title. In all fairness, but you all have had some good run. You all had some great years in the last few years, though.
Yeah, you're not right. I mean, Miami has won 10-win season since 2004.
That's
Since
great.
2003. Since 2003.
That's nuts.
One.
I mean, Michigan's had 06 was 11 wins. 2011. So we've had 5 since then. We've had 5 since then.
Michigan and Miami's like drop off year was like the same ish area. 2003, 2004.
I mean,
drop off. 2006 was a good year, but like drop off, I'm talking like from being nationally considered one of the best to like being considered pretty good to being considered like.
I think the Appalachian State game really, I think it really put things in perspective.
Was that 07?
07, yeah, first game. I think because it was still very, even though you had some miracle wins, the last, earlier, like with the Hail Mary with Colorado in '94, there was still a lot of mystique there's still a lot of mystique where you go into the big house, you're in for a fight because Michigan very rarely lost at Michigan Stadium. Like it took Michigan State, 17 years in between wins from 90 to actually 18 years, 90 to 2008, whenever Rich Rod's first year. So it's not easy to win at the big house. But when App State, even though App State was a good team, they were smaller. They were fast, but they were small, but they were good. And Michigan didn't take them seriously. Once that happened, all that mystique went out the window. Well, if App State can go in there and win, anybody can go in there and win. And then Lloyd retires. Rich Rod comes in. We lose to Toledo. So Michigan's having to build that back. And then college football's changed. There's more parity. Now it's a different game now. So
Miami has one season of not having a bowl game since I don't know if I'm looking at. Okay, I'm not looking at like the years that they had sanctions or whatever. So they've had 1 year under 6 wins since 2004, and Michigan has had 3. And I'm not counting last year because they had a full season almost, and the Big Ten did not. So I'm not counting that. But that's kind of crazy.
Yeah, and the thing about it is Michigan from 1968 to 2007 had non-losing seasons for 40 years, which was pretty remarkable. The worst season they had was in '84 when Bo's team went 6-6, which was like, oh my God, what's going on? Yeah, we got Paul here. Paul said, "What's up, Don Thomas?" Yeah, that's my name. Thanks for sharing your podcast with the Blood of the Wolverine. I have a question. Do you think we'll start seeing some passing this weekend, or mainly sticking with the running plays? Paul, thank you so much. This is one of our loyal and faithful viewers. We very much appreciate you. I think this is the weekend to do it. I think Northern Illinois, Washington. What I will say is Washington's defensive backfield, even though their team, they have talent. They're like the 18th ranked composite talent team. We played a talented team, but they're a disjointed team. They're a disjointed team that had good, tall, long defensive backs. So I really believe that this week, I think Michigan will be able to take some shots and really get the passing game going, because Ronnie Bell has been that safety valve for Michigan for the last. This will be the 3rd season he's been that guy. Like Shea Patterson, our quarterback from 2 years ago, told me Ronnie was his favorite guy to throw to because Ronnie always seemed to be open. And so of course Joe threw to Ronnie a lot, and Cade really depended on Ronnie. So losing Ronnie really hurts, really hurt the receiving core, but they do have talent. It's just you have to readjust it and recalibrate it. And I think this is a good week where you really can get some targets to Cornelius Johnson, who I think I told you last week is kind of priming that number 1 guy. Mike Sanderson has played a lot of football for Michigan. Roman Wilson has a ton of speed. He's 4'3". And you've got Dalen Baldwin, the transfer from Jackson State. You've got guys that can catch football. And also Eric All, who's kind of a hybrid flex out tight end. So yeah, if Michigan's going to get that passing game going and get some and get some lather because they're going to need it, I think this is the week to do it. What do you think, Connor?
I don't think that they're gonna throw the ball against Northern Illinois. They're just gonna run it down their throats. And by the time it's halftime, the game is probably gonna be out of hand. And I mean, maybe they have JJ come in and throw. Or maybe they give him some reps. I don't know. I think JJ plays the entire second half. I don't even think it's close.
Yeah, I don't think I don't think it's close either. At the same time, I really believe Michigan has to get something going, especially because conference play starts next week.
You're not winning without a passing game in the Big
No,
Ten.
of course not. Of course not. And also speaking with I got a chance to speak with Kate McNamara after the game on Saturday, and one thing he said was that was not the plan going into the game, was just to run. They knew that Washington was going to be hard to throw on, but when they saw it and when they saw an opening, a run, a place where you could run, they took advantage of that, and they just kept doing it because that's what they had available to them. So, I really believe, I really believe that they've got to get something going, some kind of lather, because we know we can run, and which is a wonderful thing, but we got to be able to balance it out, because Rutgers, even though I think we can run on Rutgers, Rutgers won't be as easy. It won't be as easy.
You're not going to get away with passing for 40 yards against Rutgers.
No,
I get what you're saying for sure. Like in the Big Ten, you can't beat like maybe Illinois or probably not Illinois. Look what happened to Nebraska, but like you can't beat any of those teams without passing for 150 to 200 yards at the bare minimum.
Yeah,
that's just what college football is now.
And the thing is, Kate is capable of it. Kate McNamara, of course, high school is high school, but Kate, is the all-time passing leader for the state of Nevada. I mean, he's got the ability to spread the ball around the yard. So he's got that ability. He's playing a similar offense that he played in high school, in college, and he's his third year in the system. So I think he has familiarity. I just really believe that they're going to have to be able to turn him loose, because Kate is going to have to make some throws, some key throws, some third and long throws to move the chains and extend drives that are going to be key to Michigan winning games. If Michigan can't do that, it can be a middle of the road season. But if Kate is able to efficiently make those timely throws along with that running game, then Michigan has a chance to kind of make some noise this year. I do believe that, but it's still yet to be determined. But yeah, like I said, we're here. I'm Don Thomas. This is Connor Modowny. This is welcome to a podcast divided. Ask us some questions. We definitely want to see more questions. Michigan State personal questions, whatever you want to ask us. We are here to answer your questions and kind of get you primed and ready. And then Mike Hensler 15. That 2006 was nasty for you. Yeah, it was. That was a very memorable year. It was my first year. I was actually a freshman in college in Mississippi. And of course, there were a lot of SEC people there, and they hated it, man. They hated that my team was so good. I didn't realize that the partisanship with the SEC until I got there that fall. And then when Michigan lost that close game to Ohio State, and I was arguing that Michigan should still be in the national title game, and then Arkansas chokes the game away in the SEC championship game. I'll never forget that. They choked the game away, and then whenever Florida gets in, and then Florida kicks Ohio State's butt, man, it was hard, very hard for me to live down. So, yeah,
I didn't pay attention. I was still in John L. Smith days.
Oh yeah. John L. Smith.
That was the last John L. year. I was so happy. I was young, but I was like, knowing how I am now compared to back then, like it was crazy that I just did not care about the program. Like, I liked Michigan State football, but like from 2000, I don't know, like 2 until 2006, they were getting beat by I wouldn't even tune into the Michigan State game because it was like 49-0. Like it was stupid.
Those were fun days.
Those were not fun days. I was so young though; it didn't phase me though. I just didn't.
Yeah. I met Braylon Edwards on Saturday. He's friends of friends, so it was cool talking to him. I didn't take a picture, but I just thought about that game. It was funny. I don't know everybody, y'all. Contrary to prior belief, I don't know everyone.
I don't know. I would argue that. You know a lot of people.
Oh yeah, but it would be. But that 2004 game when Braylon, did what he did. I mean, the night before I actually had I sprained my ankle in my high school football game in a homecoming game and a blowout game. I sprayed it bad where I could barely walk. And then so I'm watching that game. My mom, shout out to my mother who got me because I'm in San Antonio, Texas at the time, living, and so the only way to watch most Michigan games was to get ESPN Game Plan. And my mother understood how much I love Michigan football, and she dropped the money on ESPN Game Plan. I thank her so much for that, or else I would have missed out on so much football. And so I did that. I was watching on ESPN Game Plan. DeAndre Cobb runs that long touchdown. It's 27-10, and then I'm just in utter disbelief. And then Braylon Edwards does what he does, and when we tied the game, I literally am running around my house limping with no voice. We tied it. We tied it. So that was a fun time, but I knew things were going to be different in 2007 when D'Antonio and the team he inherited gave us all we could handle in Sparty Stadium that year. Even though Henny and Manningham hooked up and made some throws. I mean, that's what I knew things were going to be different. And of course, Michigan makes some bad moves and really caves themselves in, and Michigan State took complete and utter advantage of it. And D'Antonio went on that legendary run that I never thought I'd see in my lifetime. So hey,
can we take a second to address the Michigan fans who say that State was only good or relevant for that time period? I know you're not one of them, but can we address the fans that are like, Michigan State had their run because Michigan was irrelevant and State was under sanctions, and Ohio State was down, which isn't true because State beat Ohio State the year they were undefeated going into the Big Ten title game.
Oh, okay. So basically,
so State was only good because everyone else was bad. What is their argument?
Okay, so basically, was State only good under D'Antonio because everyone else was bad? I'm actually going to put that as a banner so people can get on here. So people can get on, so they can look at it and we can talk about it. So, yeah, was State only good under D'Antonio because everyone else is bad? Here's my question. Here's my answer to that. While Ohio State was going, I'm gonna build my case. Okay, so do not hold your stones away. Okay, I'm gonna build my case. Ohio State, was good, and then Jim Tressel, the whole line to FBI thing, and then Luke Fickell came in. They had a hiccup year, so they were under sanctions for a couple of years. Michigan, had some administrative gaffes by making the wrong hire. Les Miles was, of course, the logical choice, but because of what people knew about him behind the scenes, he was never going to be an option at Michigan. And so you went for the hot coach and Rich Rodriguez, who came in and wasn't able to establish some proper relationships with the players, and everyone hated his guts. And then Michigan people hated his guts because he wasn't a Michigan man. And then Michigan kind of self-imploded. So Michigan wasn't as strong as they were. Of course, you had the Sandusky thing with Penn State. So you had some things out there. At the same time, you play who you play. You play the teams you play. And Michigan State had a fortuitous time. And they were kind of looking around and seeing who's left, who's there. But the thing about it is they took advantage of it. And it shouldn't be a thing of, that's because everyone else was bad. No, they took advantage of it and they were good. Mm-hmm. They went to their bowl games. They played a good Stanford team in the Rose Bowl, beat Stanford. Played a top 10 Baylor team in the Cotton Bowl, beat them. So they won those big games. They were legitimately good. Not just good because everyone else was bad, but legitimately good. And in 2013, you can't forget this. They beat an Ohio State team that was a shoo-in for the playoff. Beat them by 2 scores. Shut them down. So you have to look at all of those things. And then of course, I heard Michigan fans, oh, they were lucky. They were like 2015. Oh, they were so lucky. After a while, it's of course there are two sides of that. I'd rather be lucky than good. Number one, sometimes I'd rather be lucky than good. And number two, after a while, it's not luck. It's about putting Mark D'Antonio didn't always have the most talent on the field. One thing D'Antonio did that was mastery over any other coach I've seen is D'Antonio put his players in position to win games. If you make a mistake, forget about it. D'Antonio will make you pay. He did a wonderful and masterful job of that in his heyday. So they did what they were supposed to do. But they did what they were supposed to do. So I don't want to hear none of that. We were down, they were up, but they took advantage of it because they didn't have to take advantage of it. So that's my long rant about Michigan fans. Yeah, it is what it is. They did their thing. All right.
People forget that State didn't only play Big Ten teams. They beat Boise. They beat Boise State when Boise State was one of the powers of the Group of Five. I mean, they still are, but back when Boise State was Chris Peterson still, and they were still, ranked every year to start the year. They beat Boise State in a down year for Michigan State. They beat them pretty, I don't know, I wouldn't say handily, but they controlled the game at home. They beat, like you said, Stanford, Baylor. Wisconsin had Russell Wilson. They beat Russell Wilson. They beat team. They beat Georgia. They weren't a fluke. Like, yeah, they lost to Alabama twice by unbelievable amounts of points because
everybody lost to Alabama.
Alabama is unbelievable. And the year they beat Ohio State in 2015, that might have been Ohio State's most talented team ever. They had Ezekiel Elliott. They had, they literally had everybody. They were just loaded. State wasn't even supposed to be in that game. They went on the road and won it.
Yeah, I mean, you, like I said, you play to win the games. I'm not diminishing that win. But I think Ohio State was looking ahead to us. But the thing about it is you still have to play the games. And you did what you needed to do. And you took advantage of it. They may have been looking ahead. They may have been napping. They may have not taken y'all seriously because your quarterback was out. And Tyler O'Connor, they didn't expect Tyler O'Connor to run the offense the way he did. And it was efficient. That was an ugly game, man.
It was ugly.
It was an ugly.
That's how D'Antonio loved it, though. He loved those ugly games.
No, man. He took full advantage of it. I mean, that's the thing. That's what it's all about, man. It's about taking advantage of the opportunities in front of you. If Michigan did all the stuff Michigan State did, we wouldn't be apologizing for it. We wouldn't be saying it's a fluke. No, give them their due credit. That's all I'm saying. Stop being an a-hole fan and give them their credit. You ain't gotta like Michigan State. Heck, I don't like Michigan State. I like Connor. That's the reason we have this show. But give them their due credit and stop sounding like an a-hole on Twitter. You know what I'm talking about. You watching, you know who you are. That's all I got to say. We can talk trash. We can make fun of each other and stuff, but don't deny reality. Don't be a denier like other deniers out there in our society that we will not speak of.
D'Antonio in his prime at Michigan State was a top 5 coach in the country. And I mean, it wasn't even like disputable. It was every preseason list was like D'Antonio was top 5. It was like Saban, Urban, and D'Antonio was like 5 or 6 or 7 or whatever. But like every year he was up there. Because back when D'Antonio pre-2016 D'Antonio had like major balls. People forget how big of plays he used to call. And like why his teams loved him was because he loved taking chances. He loved, the fake field goals or the fake punts or, the fake field goal against Notre Dame, which was still you still see the replays of that today.
Freaking Charlie Gant.
Yeah, there was a Northwestern fake punt that ended up winning them the game. There's just so many like big plays or big fakes or big, whatever that he called that like no coaches are calling these days.
Yeah.
Like your job might be on the line if you don't execute.
Yeah, I probably have said this on the show before, but Charlie gave me buckets in 8th grade. So he was 6'2", this lanky 6'2" lefty. I'm probably 5'9", probably about the height I am now, man. I hit some buckets, man, but
You
they
had that
basically
length.
they had also they had the Tabbitt twins, Charles and Philip Tabbitt, who played Division One ball down in. They were at 6'5" in 8th grade. So what they would do is they would curl around. I would be guarding Charlie a man to man. They would curl around, and literally one of the 6'5" dudes would give me a back screen, and Charlie would be gone, man. So he was an athlete, man. Really good kid too.
Forever loved at Michigan State.
I know he is. So it's but it is cool to see, him do what he did and all that. But good, and a good kid too. Really good dude. Well, we got some more. We got some more questions. We've got, and here's my buddy Trevor McHugh. Oh, let me get this. Don, is it fair for you to be on video with your hair game so strong currently? Man, I appreciate that, man. I ain't got it all spiffed up like I want to, but I'm like, it looks fine. So, and I got to get a haircut. I hadn't seen my barber since before I got back, because I got back from Michigan, so I gotta go get the lineup and the fade, so I get looking more crispy and fresh for the ladies.
Yeah, Don is single, people.
I am single.
We're not here for this. We're not here for this. This is
single.
No. I regret bringing it up. All right, next question.
All right. Okay, we got a non-Michigan State question, but I think we can roll with it. Thoughts on Iowa's chances to make a Big Ten championship run this year and the playoff? I'll let you take that one, Connor.
Well, if you followed the picks for the first 2 weeks of the season, you would have known that I didn't pick Iowa in either game. So clearly, I think a lot of Iowa, because I don't think that they're ever going to win. Their chances to make, I mean, they're due for one of these runs. It seems like every 3 or 4 years, Iowa's like this 10, 11 win team. Then they go back to their 6 and 7 win selves. I just don't think that they have the offense. I don't think that Spencer Petras is a good enough quarterback to be leading a team to the playoff. And I don't know if they have a capable backup. I was always going to have a strong run game, but they're kind of in a predicament with Michigan right now. Is can they figure out their passing game before it's too late? Can they get something going? I think they had they had a game recently where they had like a really low number of total yards, and they still, I think, was it the first game? I don't know. They've been putting up very little yardage, and that's concerning for a top of the Big Ten team. And I think when they see another team with an offense, Iowa State does not have a good offense. When they see another team with an offense, they might be in some trouble.
Yeah. I think, the path is there for them to possibly do it. The path is there for them to do it. You got Colorado State this week. You've got go to Maryland. I think that's a tricky game because Maryland is kind of lying in the weeds right now. I think they've got, I saw their game against West Virginia. They got Tagovailoa is a good quarterback. And I think that they're starting to build up and get some skill guys in there. I think, that could be a tricky game for them. They host Penn State, but it's at Kinnick. It's just something about playing at Kinnick is it's hard. It's very hard to win there. I don't know what. It's probably the pink locker room or whatnot.
I was just about to say.
Then they got Purdue. I think they'll beat Purdue. They got at Wisconsin. Never an easy place to play, but you can win there.
Game too.
And then at Northwestern, you never know what kind of Northwestern team you're going to get. Minnesota comes there for the Cy-Hawk Trophy. And then you got Illinois, and then you got Nebraska.
That's an easy schedule.
I wish Michigan had that schedule.
That's an easy schedule. If they don't make the Big Ten championship, I would be shocked.
Yeah, and I think whoever comes out of the East, which will likely be Ohio State, even though they've got their loss, I think it's going to be tough to. I think if they can get one, if they can hold to one loss, I think they can go 11-1. I think they can. I'm not saying will, but can based on their schedule. Even though they've got some trap games, They go 11-1 and find a way to upset whoever they play in the Big Ten title game, which will have to be Ohio State. I'm going to admit that. I believe that they'll be in the playoffs if they do that, but that's a big if. So the answer to your question, they got a chance. They got a chance, but everything has to go right. But it's out there for them to get. That's what I'll say.
The Big Ten West is bad usually, but this year is especially bad. Like the Big Ten West is so winnable. I think that if any one of the top 4 teams in the East went over there, they would run away with the division.
Yeah. I mean, if Harbaugh was in the West, Harbaugh had multiple trips to Indy.
Yeah, you wouldn't have to worry. But I mean, would he win it? I don't know. Maybe.
Hey,
we'll never know. I guess
we'll never know. So gotta take the path most resistance. We got 2 doggone arch rivals, Michigan State and Ohio State, 2 arch rivals. Yep. A team that wants to be our rival, Penn State. Those 3 teams every year. It's a game every single year. It's a game we got to worry about, and then we always have Wisconsin as a crossover. So Michigan's schedule is never easy, but hey, it is what it is. You gotta win those games and such. But
the East, the divisions need to be realigned.
Yeah,
I mean it's so unbelievably. First of all, it's stupid. Like you could have a Big Ten title game with 2 Goliaths, or you could have a Big Ten title game with Ohio State versus Northwestern.
Well, yeah, that's already happened twice.
Right. I mean, like you could have like Ohio State, Penn State, Ohio State, Michigan, Ohio State, Michigan State, any of those in the Big Ten title game. You're making exponentially more money than Ohio State, Northwestern, or Ohio State, Nebraska, or even Wisconsin's okay. But like, didn't they get shut out like 55-0 last time they played Ohio State in the Big Ten title game?
Yeah, they did, and I think like the SEC and championship can go along fine because Georgia and Florida have come back. Before that, that's the way it was with the SEC. But Georgia and Florida are national contenders right now. But let's drum this thing up, man. I want to see if we can drum some conversation before we go into our pick 10. Of course, we know. We both had great wins. Michigan took care of Washington. Defensive masterpiece, masterpiece of a running game, but passing will be a question. And Michigan State just kind of picked up where they left off. Kenneth Walker is running away with the Heisman, according to some people. So we'll see what happens. But let's pull up. I got a question I want to ask y'all. I got a question I want to ask you guys. Between these three options, what would you pick? Unlimited airfare, unlimited gasoline for your car, or unlimited groceries? What would you choose?
Are you asking me?
Yeah, of course. I mean, you're the only person on right now.
Well, right, but okay. I would say groceries.
Okay.
Because you're not limited on the amount of groceries you can buy. If you have unlimited, if it was all paid for the rest of your life, that's a huge expense. Gas, I mean, what if you don't drive that much? I don't drive that much. I work from home. So my gas being unlimited would be pointless. Airfare, maybe if I wanted to go on vacation a ton, I think that's might be what you would pick. But I think groceries would be, and this is like having it paid for, correct? Not like
everything paid for. Yep.
Groceries would, I think, just save you the most money, and that way you save all this money. You can go on all these trips that you want to go on, and gas won't be an issue. And groceries are so expensive, especially if you have a family. It's just,
man. Well. That's a good one because none of these are like the ones last where if you pick one, it's like we gotta pray for you, this. But all these are great options. Right now, I mean, I don't need to limit groceries because I need less groceries. Just look at me, gasoline.
Be nice to yourself.
I know. I do love myself. I'm working on myself, but I love myself. But unlimited. Gasoline. That's because I do drive a lot of here in the Atlanta area, and everything is 30 miles away from each other here. And everything's around the corner. 30 miles around the corner where I am. But for me, it'd be unlimited airfare because I love I love going to, I love traveling to sporting events and such. It's one of my favorite things to do, and just be able to have free flies. Of course, I've got some nice flyer miles. Got stocked up for this season. I'm probably going to burn them all this season, but I'm going to use them. But yeah, and then of course I can go to China. I can go to Japan and get some hibachi. I can, yeah, just
Okay.
see.
Let me add one more onto this list that might make it harder for you.
Okay, what's that?
Unlimited tickets. Like, so you would still have to spend your own money to get to these places, but you could go to any game you want to for free.
Oh man, let me add that.
Okay, I feel like that's tough.
Ooh, man, unlimited.
Unlimited sporting events for free. Unlimited tickets, sporting events.
The limited sports ticket. Save it. And now post it. Yep. Woo! Unlimited airfare, unlimited groceries.
I'm still sticking with groceries.
Sports.
Well, yeah, sporting events would be great. It would be awesome.
That includes the Super Bowl.
Yeah, anything.
Man. And I know people.
But you would still have to fly to the Super Bowl.
Yeah.
So you're still spending a decent amount of money.
But the Super Bowl tickets are the most big.
Well, right, but you're spending to fly there and then stay in a hotel for, if it's in a nice place, a couple days, a whole weekend. I don't know.
Yeah, or I could just fly the same day and fly out.
You could.
Man. Ooh.
So your whole reason for picking airfare is because you like traveling to sporting events.
That's true.
You could pick one. Like, you could even do like a game of the week that you want to go to, like Alabama, Florida. You just want to go check it out.
Yeah, and the thing is, I live in SEC country, like where Atlanta's driving distance from almost every SEC school. Like, 3 hours from Alabama. I'm 2 hours on the nose from Auburn. I'm an hour and a half from Georgia. I'm 2.5 from Tennessee. I'm about 5.5 from Kentucky. I'm 3 from South Carolina.
About Florida.
I'm about 6 out, about 5.5 from Florida.
Really?
Gainesville, yeah. But it's a straight shot down 75, literally.
I didn't know it was that far. I thought, isn't Gainesville at the top of Florida, like the top?
No, Gainesville is.
Oh, that's Tallahassee. I'm thinking of Tallahassee.
Yeah, Tallahassee's 5 hours because it's in the Panhandle. But yeah, I would. Yeah, but so I can go to a bunch of SEC games. I can go to the Iron. Now I can never go to the Iron Bowl because I'm always at the Michigan Ohio State game. So that's kind of.
You could go to that one for free though. Michigan Ohio State every year, free game.
Oh yeah. So I don't know if someone gave me tickets to the Iron Bowl, I may skip the game one year, but it's still the game. Yeah, I've been to the last 2 at Michigan Stadium, and one I thought we may pull it off, but John O'Corn had other plans, and then 2019, just that kind of when Ohio State has that kind of a quarterback. Well, what would you like? It's almost like what you gonna do,
right?
Like Justin Fields made a throw in that game when he rolled. He came off from injury. He rolled all the way to his left, was about to go out of bounds, squared his feet, and threw a piss missile. And I was actually behind. I was like on that side of this. I was on the other side of I was on like further down, like I was in the other end zone on the same side of the stadium, so I could see it happen. And I just saw it's like his opening. It was like this little opening. He just threw a missile, and then Garrett Wilson just. Boop! I'm like, how do you defend? I mean, how do you defend that?
You know who made a throw like that this week that you need to keep an eye on because I feel like he might be a star.
Who's that?
He's not in the Big Ten. He's in SEC country. Anthony Richardson. Did you see his throw? Did you see his throw this week?
It's really hard for me. I didn't get to watch all the highlights because I was in Ann Arbor, and Ann Arbor has the worst cell reception.
Oh, I didn't see it live. I just saw a replay of it.
I saw him run though.
I gotta send it to you. Let me find this. This throw was unbelievable.
Yeah,
It reminded me of like a Justin Fields throw, or like
just crazy.
he's 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 wild.
We do have a question though. We do have a question
Question.
from Brad Holm from Facebook. What is the position group that must stick out for MSU to win Saturday?
Position group. I would say the offensive line, but that's too obvious. I think honestly, it's either the defensive line or the secondary. The secondary has been. They had they had a good game against Youngstown only because Youngstown didn't have a passing attack to talk about. I would say they kind of go hand in hand because the defensive line has not created any pressure all season long, which has been a major disappointment. They've had blitz packages worked up just so they could get sacks, which is, I mean, it's fine if you get a linebacker sack or a safety sack or a cornerback sack. I'm okay with that. But if you're not getting any other, if your defensive line is not producing any tackles for loss or sacks, that's an issue.
Mm-hmm.
So, and I know Miami's not going to rely heavily on the pass, even though they have De'Aaron King. I think he's going to be using his legs a lot. I think they're going to do a lot of RPO stuff. I think he's going to be scrambling. He's going to be picking up yards with his legs. So the secondary, I think secondary is going to be tested the most. And if they play well, I think State's going to win because they're going to need to, defend the pass when King does drop back and decide to pass and it goes through all of his options. And B, they're going to have to step up when he does escape the pocket and, gets out in space because he's slippery. I mean, you can't, he'll juke you, even with that bad leg. So if they can do those two things, they can force him into having to tuck and run and step up and stop him from picking up 30, 40-yard gains. I think State's going to be in good shape. The secondary is somewhere I want the most improvement from, along with the defensive line.
I think for the most important one for Michigan State is I'm going to go with the linebackers. I think you're going to have, because De'Aaron King can beat you. He's a dual threat. He can beat you with his arm. He can beat you with his feet. You're going to have to really. I'll say linebackers and rush edges because the rush ends are going to have to contain him and make sure he's not able to roll out and basically have a free roll out, have plenty of time to survey the field and cut one loose like he does so well. But you're gonna have to be able to, the Russian's gonna have to keep him boxed in so he throws in the pocket and really, because your secondary is good. Your secondary is an excellent secondary. So you're gonna, and if you're able to keep him boxed in, he's gonna have to make some throws under duress, and then that's when you do your damage. From a standpoint of get you those takeaways that you're gonna need against Miami. So I think and then of course the middle linebackers being able to spy. And being able to, if he does escape, break, contain, that you're able to minimize it to a 3-4 yard gain rather than a 10-12 yard gain. Because if he's getting 10-12 on every scramble, that's going to really, really, put some stress on that defense. And so I think the linebackers and the rush ends containing him and keeping an eye on him is going to be very, very important for Michigan State this weekend. So
they're going to have to drop a lot of blitzes too, just to make him uncomfortable because he's going to, if he gets time to throw, even if he doesn't have the best arm. We've seen quarterbacks pick apart defense. We saw Hunter Johnson kind of pick apart Michigan State's secondary in the opener just because he dropped back, had time, and he relied on those little 3 to 5 yard routes that turned into 6, 7, 8 every single time.
Yeah, if De'Aaron King is able to have a cup of tea with some crumpets, with a little bit of sugar, a little bit of cream, nice and hot and at 92 degrees. Then Michigan State's in trouble. But if he's scrambling for his life and he's got pressure, he knows that, oh crap, they coming again. Then
Tuck coming.
Oh well, I did not just say. I did just say. I sure did. I sure did say it. So
I got it. This is the new tradition. Until they lose or look really bad, I got to wear the shirt.
Jim Harbaugh coming. That's old. That's
no, it's who's got it better than us.
Nobody. And
No,
I'm actually
that is the worst video I've ever seen. Hands down.
it's bad, but
It's so bad.
but speaking of Jim, I really think Michigan pushed the reset button in the offseason with because the team looks worlds better defensively. The coaching's better. I mean, I think they really did push the reset button to where they're able to kind of rebuild and kind of regain some of what they've lost last year, which is how abysmal. Because the defense, because you can just look at just watching the game back, just looking at how how the linebackers were in coverage and the technique they use. It's just they're just better coached now. And I think that's big because Michigan has talent. It's just it's coaching, and I think they've kind of got some things back. So I mean, it's going to be interesting. I think over the next 3 weeks we'll really kind of get a nice, good picture of Michigan. But what we know of Michigan right now is they can run the ball and they can D up. Secondary is still a question mark, but the front seven's playing really well. Aiden Hutchinson looks like a monster right now. So yeah.
The defense definitely looks. I mean, there's a refreshing look if you're a Michigan fan from the Don Brown era, but at the same time, you have to be cautiously optimistic because Washington might go down with one of the worst Power 5 offenses since 2019 Michigan State or 2018 Michigan State. Their offense is so bad. So it's very hard to judge. Michigan dominated them, which they should have done. They made them uncomfortable. They made, they didn't really do anything in the run game. But
yeah,
but Washington's offense was hard to watch.
yeah. Well, but what I will say is that you're right. I agree. Washington's offense was like paint dry. It was very classic old school offense. At the same time, I look at technique because one of my coaches when I was in youth baseball taught me something. You don't play against the other because we played in this league where all the teams were bad to qualify and go to regionals and stuff. The teams were terrible. And we beat this team like 11-1. We played bad. And coach got into us. He said, you don't play against the team. You play against the game. Which basically means you do things the right way regardless of who you're playing. And I think Michigan technically did the right things. And that's what's encouraging to me, regardless of how Washington how good or bad they may have looked. Michigan technically did the right things, and that's what that's why I liked what I saw. Even on a third down pass that their quarterback had, Morris, he threw an out route. Both guys were in position to either bat the ball down or pick it off, but the throw was just so perfect. Guy caught the out route, got about 12, 13 yards for a first down. But it's like even with that play, Michigan was in position. I'm like, all right, because last year that guy's drinking a cup of coffee, waiting for the ball to come.
Yep.
But so that's what encourages me. But like I said, criticism and hype needs to be tempered right now. But I do like what I see so far. We got another question from your buddy Kevin Wharf. Of course, first thing he wants to say is go blue.
Go green.
Yeah.
Kevin.
And then MSU has proven they can move the ball upfield well with dynamic passing. Michigan hasn't proven that yet. And you're right.
Yeah. And I'm going to go off of something that you just told me, is that tempering expectations. Like, you feel good from a technical standpoint about the defense because they're doing the right things, they're in the right places. Doesn't matter the quality of opponent, even though we can both agree that neither of us has really played a good team yet. That's how I feel about Michigan State's offense. Michigan State's offense has moved the ball really well. They look good. They're bringing the hype because they're doing the right things. They look prepared. They're not making mental mistakes that they would have made a year ago. But the quality of opponent is, So I think you're tempering your expectations about Michigan's defense. I'm doing the same about Michigan State's offense. We're both liking what we're seeing, but we'd like to see that more consistently. And the dynamic passing attack, I think that State hasn't had a lack of talent in the passing game for years, except for we can argue about certain quarterbacks in certain seasons. But State hasn't had a lack of talent at receiver or tight end, or there have been good quarterbacks. So the fact that there wasn't a passing attack that was dynamic to begin with is probably a coaching issue. I think we can all agree that the coaching wasn't the greatest over the past few seasons when it came to the Michigan State's offense. But right now, Michigan State is gaining confidence, and I think that's what every team needs at this point in the season is are those games where you're like, man, everything is clicking right now. If I'm just going to keep doing this, like I can make any throw I want, like all this. That's what Peyton Thorne needed against Youngstown. He had his best game against a bad team, but he was making NFL throws. He was making 40-yard throws on the money, mid-stride down the field. So I think that Michigan just needs those type of games in a row, and I think Northern Illinois is like the perfect opportunity for that.
Yeah, and the thing is, Michigan can throw. It's just, well. One thing Michigan's Achilles heel has been, especially in 2016, whenever they had that team, we were on the cusp of the playoff. Is we should the whole JT was short with it. The whole JT was short thing would have been a moot point if Michigan was able to run the ball late in the game and run the clock out, but they couldn't do it. They couldn't do it. Then couldn't hit on pass on third down. You had a chance to put them away in regulation, but you didn't. So same thing goes here. It's Michigan can run the ball. This is so important. So if K doesn't have to be Patrick Mahomes or Trevor Lawrence, if K can just keep the band going, keep the marching band going, and just keep the cadence going with his passing, Michigan's going to be fine. They're going to be a very efficient offense, and Michigan's going to score a lot of points. But that's still an if. But I believe K can do it. It just needs to come to fruition. And with that being said, I want to pick some games. So it's time for our pick 10. Oh yeah, eliminated airfare, groceries, gasoline. I pick sports. I'm not sure who's picking
groceries. Groceries easy.
If I had unlimited groceries, I'd be like the big.
I mean, you don't have to just get like just food because groceries can be like dish soap and all that stuff, right? Like
that is true.
Like laundry detergent.
Yeah. I bought some Downy.
You thought of me, didn't you?
I sure did. I was going to post one of your pictures on Twitter. I thought I bought some Downy dryer sheets.
Sponsor us, Downy.
Dude, Downy, sponsor us. I know you all can hear us because the government and people hear everything. Downy.
Open the can of worms there.
Yes. Yeah. Well, we got games to pick. It's time for our pick 10. And
how did you do last week?
I was what was I? I was 6-4 last week. So my overall record is 13. My overall record, I was 6-4, I was 7-3. So overall record is 13-7.
Oh, I gotta do the math in my head right here. I went back and I picked Utah over BYU. I thought I picked BYU, so I was wrong there. So I was 0-1, 1-1, 2-1. 2-2, 3-2, 4-2, 4-4, 5-4, 6-4. So 6-4 after a 7-3.
You're 8-2.
I was 8-2.
You're 8-2, yeah.
So 14.
So you're 14 and
5.
14. Okay.
Wait,
14 and 6.
Wait. Yeah.
14 and 6. So I'm a game behind you. And Vinny was 7-3 last week, and Vinny's teaching class tonight, so he couldn't join us on camera. But he was 0-1, 0-2, 1-2.
I'm just texting
2-2, 2-3, 3-3, 3-4, 3-5, 4-5, 4-6. Woo! He was 4-6 after going 7-3. So he's 11-9. So yep. So Connor's leading the way. Connor's 14-6. I'm 13-7. Vince is 11-9.
So this is a big week. This is a big week.
Yep. So here we go. Let's start it off. I got the first game is Nebraska and Oklahoma. Classic Big 8 rivalry turned to then Big 12. And then of course Nebraska came our way, and of course they're going to the SEC. But so let's see who you got.
No, I don't think that there's much of a discussion on where this one is going. I think Oklahoma wins this one, and I'm sure the spread is something ridiculous, and I think they probably cover it.
Yeah, Oklahoma just blast them into oblivion, and of course we celebrate. We celebrated because this is still a Nebraska slander podcast.
Yep.
So Cincinnati at Indiana.
All right, I'm going with an upset special here. I think Indiana pulls this one off because
Mm,
we haven't really seen what they're capable of, but I do think that they're more talented than being like a punching bag again. I think that Iowa game was just like rust and just, I mean, it was Penix's first game back since the injury and all this stuff. I think that Indiana shocks everybody on Saturday and pulls off the upset over Cincinnati.
I'm going with Cincy. Desmond Ritter. He came back. He would have been an NFL draft pick had he left last year. Came back. They were a little rusty against Murray State, but they bounced back. I'm going with Cincy. Also Skyline Chili, the Fighting Angelique Chingalises.
I'm still never forgiving her for the Luke Fickle incident of
waffling freight. Like now,
Yep.
I want some chicken and waffles now. Since I thought about it. Anyways, see, that's the fat guy in me. Anyway, here we go. And then Virginia Tech at West Virginia. Woo!
I'm going West Virginia. I think Virginia Tech's a fraud. I honestly think that they're just a fraud. We see this every year with Virginia being decent for a stretch, and everybody jumps on the bandwagon. Justin Fuente is the savior again, and 2 games later they're losing to Duke by 20 points. So I think this is their game where they come back down to earth and lose at West Virginia.
Country roads take me home.
That's 2 straight upsets if we're counting at
to
home.
the place I belong, West Virginia.
Mama.
I don't know the rest of the words of the song, but
yeah.
Flip a coin really with this game. Virginia Tech had a nice win to open the season against Carolina in a really, a rock fight. And West Virginia had it lost at Maryland, but it's honestly it's just as much of a toss of a game as possible. But I'm giving the edge because there's a ruckus environment down there in Morgantown, and I think the Mountaineers will pull it out. So I'm going West Virginia as well.
Okay.
And my next one is Minnesota going down to Boulder, Colorado, playing the Colorado Buffaloes.
This is tough. This one's a tough one.
This is another tough one.
I think because they don't have Ibrahim, I think that this one's a Colorado win. But I don't want to pick Colorado because I don't like Colorado.
Because of the way they acted after Mill Tucker.
They're just so annoying. Their fan base just thinks that it's 1990 something still, and they're irrelevant, and they're not. They're like Nebraska Junior, basically.
Nebraska Junior, but yeah, I'm making this pick for my friend Christy McCartney, Bill McCartney's daughter. I'm gonna make it, and I'm going with the Buffaloes. I think the altitude and no Ibrahim. And also with how close they were last week against A&M and heartbreaking fashion that they had that one taken from them. I'm gonna go with the Buffaloes, Colorado.
Same.
Notre Dame versus Purdue.
Notre Dame. Yeah, I mean, we haven't seen Notre Dame really play well, but if you get Toledo on the schedule after like a huge emotionally draining season opening win where you have to go to overtime after blowing an 18-point fourth quarter lead, you're probably going to have a hangover the next week.
I think so too.
So I think they got their wake up call. That's what they needed. They needed like you're human again. Come back and join the rest of college football and take care of business. I think that they beat Purdue probably by 2 touchdowns at least.
I'm gonna go with the Irish as well. I think I really, really believe that they're gonna try to get that taste out of their mouths, and really take it out on Purdue. It's at West Lafayette, right?
Yeah. The spread is only 1 touchdown.
Yeah, but I mean
that's nuts.
West Lafayette's a trick. Whenever there's a big game,
no, it's at Notre Dame. It's at Notre Dame.
Oh, is that Notre Dame? Okay, yeah, Notre Dame. Easy.
Let me check. I'm pretty sure it's at Notre Dame, but they always have the 2:30 games. Yeah, it's 2:30 Notre Dame versus Purdue. Yeah, it's at Notre Dame.
Oh yeah, then easily Notre Dame. Of course, it's still a close game. It's still a local, sort of a couple hours away. But yeah, but what? Yeah, I went to Purdue for their for to watch Michigan play in the tournament last year. It's really
Boo.
tiny stadium, super tiny stadium. But yeah,
Hate Purdue.
yeah, Alabama at Florida. Woo!
Mm. I mean, I think Alabama wins, but this could be another case of like an Ohio State where you just assume that one team is just going to run away with it, and Florida might have an answer with Anthony Richardson. If he gets to start at quarterback, I think they win. If they stick with Emory Jones at quarterback, I think Alabama wins. Oh man, I think this one is like a field goal to a touchdown game, and I think Alabama sneaks away with one.
Yeah, Alabama, of course, they're a phenomenal team. The Swamp is a very tough place to play. It's
Mm-hmm.
super humid down. I was stuck in a stadium one day driving down to Tampa. Very humid, really. It's a very interesting place. Um, Alabama's a great team, but Dan Mullen has been stockpiling really talented athletes along with his system. You know, I got to watch him firsthand at Mississippi State when I was in college when he got there, and he turned Mississippi State into a top 10, top 15 program,
Mm-hmm.
which they've stunk their entire lives.
And they
And
stink
now
again,
yeah, they do stink again. Yeah, I love y'all Mississippi State people. You know I love y'all, but y'all
but
stink.
you're bad.
But not in baseball though. Y'all national champs in baseball though. Anyways, I think Dan Mullen has his system with those really good Florida athletes. Um, I just think it should, and also Bryce Young, the quarterback, is his first real big road test. Alabama, as great as they are, they're not impregnable. I think Florida rises to the occasion. I'm picking upset, going with the Gators.
Ooh.
Going with the Gators, but my caveat is they're going to rematch in the SEC championship, and Alabama's going to beat their bricks off. That's my caveat, but I think Florida's gonna win round one.
Everyone, do yourself a favor and go look up the Anthony Richardson throw from last week against South Florida.
Yeah, if we had been here to produce,
Oh
we'd
my
roll it
God.
right now. But yeah, so yeah, but then we got my boss's team, the Auburn Tigers, going up to Happy Valley to play Penn State, in a whiteout.
This game is going to be so boring. I mean, like the hype around it is awesome and everything. It's a top 25 game. Auburn is not a top 25 team. I mean, they beat some team, some crap team, 60 some nothing last week or whatever it was. I just don't think that they're legitimate top 25 team. And I think Penn State's going to win this one with it's going to be like the Wisconsin game all over again. It's going to be like 20-13 or something boring.
The whiteout, I get the whiteout is based on like a touch. Gives
Yeah, it is a
a
touchdown.
touchdown. It's a touchdown, and Auburn's offense, even though you got Brian Harsin, who's an offensive coach,
Bo Nix is stinky.
and Bo Nix is he's great at home, and on the road he's not very good. I just and Penn State's defense is playing really well right now. I can't pick against Penn State. I think it's going to be. I got like a 23-9 type game.
Ugh.
It's going to be nasty and ugly and
It's going to be ugly.
funky. But
Yeah.
it's going to be a Penn State win, another one in the whiteout. I'd be very shocked if Auburn goes in there and upsets them. I'd be very shocked. And then we've got Arizona State, a team that Michigan State people love, and then facing going to Provo.
Michigan people also love Arizona State for Josh Christopher, right?
We got Shawnee Brown. That's all good. Penn State.
We got Mel Tucker.
That's true too. At BYU.
Oof. BYU doesn't really get any breaks, do they? They go from who they had in the first game? I don't remember. They've played three pretty decent teams back to back to back. Oh, they played Arizona. So this is their third Pac-12 team. Oh man, at BYU. I feel like Arizona has just been so boring offensively this season, even though they have so much talent. Like Jaden Daniels, they have really good running backs, but they're just so conservative and boring. I think that Arizona State should win the game, but I think BYU is just rolling right now, and they picked up some confidence after the Utah win. I think that they're going to win a close one in Provo.
Well, I'm going to use my reference from the movie from about almost 20 years ago, The Girl Next Door, with the kid Sam Nang who was overseas, and he's coming over, and one thing he said in the video to the assembly was, "Go Cougars!" So I'm going with BYU. I think BYU is playing really well. I mean, their fan base is at a fever pitch. Like I said last week, they got nothing else to do out there except stare at each other fully clothed, and all that, and then play football. That's all they got to do out there. So they are in. They beat Utah.
I would love to attend a BYU party. I would love to attend it. Just to see. I want to see what's going on.
I don't think they can have. I think it's against their coach.
There's got to be like some sneaky one, it's got to be some like Prohibition era type, like hiding in some basement.
Like off that movie Sex Drive. Rumspringa!
Yeah, seriously, like what if they're crazier than we think? We need to this needs to be investigated.
But that movie is
that was a good movie.
My baseball team, we were headed to our conference rivals, University of Texas at Tyler, and we watched that movie on the bus on the way there. And we won 2-3, won our division, and when we broke the huddle before we took the field,
the Rumspringa.
We said, Rumspringa, like 1, 2, 3, Rumspringa, and even our bus driver, who was this old dude who smoked cigarettes, we called him Uncle Terry. He was, we were like, Uncle Terry, and then he goes on the bus speaker like, Rumspringa. So anyway, sorry, we went on a rabbit trail there, and we're now out of that rabbit trail.
Someone attend the BYU party and get back to us.
Yes. All right, now let's go. Now let's go on down to South Florida to Miami Gardens, where they're going to call it South Lansing, which there are a lot of Michigan people that live in, a lot of Michigan, former Michigan residents, current Michigan residents, snowbirds that live in Florida. So I think there will be a sizable Michigan State crowd there. So let's go Michigan and Miami.
Michigan State and Miami.
Michigan State and Miami, excuse me. Sorry. Michigan State, MSU, and Miami. Who we got?
If you asked me this like 3 weeks ago, I would have said Miami big. But now after watching the first 2 weeks, I'm so torn that, like, first of all, this is the most excited I've been about like a huge state game in a long time. Like this isn't like a monster game, but like this is a big game. This is a big non-conference game. And it's weird to have this optimism going into one of these. But I'm going to say you go. You take over. Let me think about it. You take
All right.
it.
Yeah, I made my pick back on August 21st, our first episode. I said before anyone had played any football, before we knew what anyone was going to do, I said my upset special for the year was Michigan State was going to go into Miami and they're going to win. And seeing the way they played the last couple of weeks convinces me that they're capable of doing it. And I've got to stick by it because I want to be a genius. Of course, I'll celebrate if you lose because I don't like Michigan State. But that's
not very nice.
I mean, you feel the same way about us.
I root for Michigan every week.
Oh, I got you. Yeah, got it. Sure. Take a lot to take the test. Anyways, I've got Michigan State. I think Michigan State is going to go in there, and I think Miami is still, after they really struggled with Appalachian State, they still haven't found themselves yet fully. I mean, that's what happens when you play Alabama first game of the year. They're going to just tear you a new one, So I think they're still finding themselves, and I think this is a perfect time for Michigan State to strike. So I'm going MSU to beat Miami this weekend.
You're like talking me into this almost. I mean, if we're going by strictly momentum, what should happen? Michigan State should win this game. Momentum is on Michigan State's side.
College football is basically a momentum game.
It is, but you're going on the road. They've had a road game already at Northwestern.
It's going to be hot.
It's going to be hot. And State hasn't fared well in these hot environments like Arizona State a few years ago.
But it was also 1 a.m. in the morning their time. So
that's true.
That's another thing. So you got to factor in all those things.
I'm just gonna go. I'm just gonna fire with the Michigan State. Michigan State wins.
Okay, yeah, and there's a slight chance of rain
Oh,
as
perfect.
well.
State by 100.
There you go. Slight. I look.
If it's a monsoon, it's a lock.
But it rains in Florida every day. Pretty much. There's a 40% chance of rain, and at 2 p.m. it's a 40% chance. Yeah, 40% chance at 2 p.m. and 3 p.m. for scattered thunderstorm. So it could be that kind of. It could be divine providence right there for Michigan State. And then last but not least, we're gonna go Michigan, Northern Illinois, the return of Rocky Lombardi to the big house. After I got to deal with it for at least one more month. Come on,
no, that's
Michigan.
good. That's you mentioned Rocky Lombardi. I had to put that up.
Yeah, Rocky Lombardi.
Rocky Lombardi forever gets to use that.
Yeah, I know. So if he gets to use it, so does Shea Patterson. Anyways,
that's fair. I can agree with that.
Yeah. All right.
You know this one's gonna get ugly.
It's gonna be Michigan.
Rocky Lombardi's gonna throw 3 picks.
Yeah, Rocky's gonna have a tough time this week.
He's gonna have a Rocky game.
Yeah, because now we're ready for him. And so it's going to be something else. So I got Michigan as well. And Aaron Warner says he's got his money is also in MSU. Mine is as well.
Aaron, my guy.
So it's going to be interesting. I think it's going to be a great game, but it's going to be a fun weekend of football. I'm still debating whether I want to play my wiffle ball game on Saturday.
No.
Or sit in because the thing is, I've been at Michigan State the last 2 weekends. And I love to live tweet a Michigan game. And also, it's supposed to rain here. And also, Georgia people and COVID and all that. So, we'll see what happens.
True.
We'll see what happens.
I think football always wins, though. You got to go football.
But that means I got to go work out in the morning or something so I can get my exercise because I need exercise. Not extra fries, but exercise. So, all right, guys. Yeah, well, man, it's going to be it. I think we're going to have – I think both teams will stay undefeated. I think it's going to get interesting in the next few weeks, but we're very, very happy to have you guys on. We appreciate all the questions and input. Saturday, we'll see what happens. Both games are on the same time, so I'll be going back and forth. So
enjoy Thursday Night Football.
Yes, indeed. Yeah, get out of here. You enjoy Thursday Night Football. You're watching a podcast about it. This is our house. You are welcome anytime. Go Blue. About to order me some DoorDash. Shut up. I'm hungry. I know I'm fat, but fat people need to eat too. So I'm gonna get me some food, give me some rest, and get ready for tomorrow. So appreciate you, Connor. Connor freaking Muldowney. I'm tired of you. I'm gonna
get that laminated.
You better hope you win.
I know.
You better hope you win.
No, I know. I know. That's true.
That's all I got to say. You better hope you win. But y'all take care. Enjoy the football tonight, and go Blue.
Go Green.
Be good.